it all comes down to this. 49 days, 59 games. The two most prolific teams in the history of the tournament. 6 finals between them. 11 final appearances between them. One team will pip the other as the most successful in IPL history after tonight. It is the mother of all finals on Mother's Day. It's Mumbai Indians against Chennai Super Kings to kick off in just over half an hour from now at the Rajiv Gandhi Stadium in Hyderabad. All of you must have got everyone packed, jam-packed, crammed up in front of the TV screens to watch this. And if you're in front of our screens, if you're in our studio, we've crammed up all 3 of the very best. Ajit Agarkar is here, Deep Das Gupta is here, and Daniel Vettori knows what it's like to captain in an IPL final. He's here as well. Why don't we start with you, Daniel?
I'm trying to remember it.
Let's go back. What's it like, this sort of an IPL?
The build-up is something that you always remember. I think the game of cricket, everyone's played and everyone understands it, but the build-up and how much excitement, how much everyone's looking forward to the game, and that can affect players in a myriad of different ways. And I think most of these guys, because they've been there so many times, it just feels like a repeat that these guys will know what to do. But it's a fun time, and I know everyone within the franchise gets so excited about it.
You know, maybe it is a repeat, and it is the two most, we're so used to Mumbai-Chennai finals, but somehow we quite like the fact that it's the two most, the best two teams making the final.
And the two most consistent teams over the last, 10, 12 years of IPL. If you look at their track record, they've been more consistent. They've been a good team where almost everyone has contributed, especially talking about Mumbai. Chennai, maybe not as much this season, but I think, you want the two best teams over a period of time to play the finals, and that's what has happened this season.
And it's not just about the two best teams in the history of the tournament. The fact is they did finish 1 and 2. It's a fitting end to a very good season.
That's why I think they were scrambling to finish on that top 2. I think Chennai had that one loss and they had to win their last game to finish in that top 2. Deservedly so. I think you get 2 cracks at it. It's a lot harder actually when you lose your first playoff game, even if you think that there's another chance, but you'd rather end up in that first 2 than not.
And that's what's earned Mumbai and Chennai yet another final appearance. Rohit Sharma versus MS Dhoni is the epic IPL final showdown clash. How did Chennai get here? They seemed that they'd half the job done earlier parts in the season. It did get a little indifferent as it went on. Here's CSK's road to the final of IPL 2019.
Mercury, Alfonso Mangos and Chennai in the finals. Just a few features of the long Indian summer. Dhoni's men in yellow have made it to their 8th IPL final in 10 attempts, and given that they were banned for the past 2 seasons, this is their 3rd final in a row. The defending champs won 7 out of their first 8 games to reach here, and they banked on spinners for that. In fact, this year marks the most wickets falling to spinner in IPL history, Chennai's bulk of wickets coming on the Chepauk track that aids Jadeja, Tahir and Harbhajan, who notched up 6 wickets. The key man in Dad's army is Dad-in-Chief Dhoni, who's batted at this staggering average and even notched up his career high score. And these two, aged 34 and 37 respectively, too have lit up the campaign with big knocks in key games. In the field too, Chennai have top scored with 85.1% catches taken, ensuring admission into another final. Do more appearances in finals count as success, or do just the trophies matter? This Sunday, Dhoni will want to settle the debate by getting more of both.
Yep, there you have it. 7 final appearances for Chennai, 4 to Mumbai. Title split 3-3 to each. After tonight, one team will be undisputedly the most successful team in the history of the IPL. And if we talk about just how these two teams have fared in knockout games, in big finals, the winning percentage comes to mind. And the fact is that a number of players have still featured regularly in all those finals that we showed you. 63.6% win percentage in knockout matches for Mumbai and 60 for Chennai. And the rest of them are significantly far behind. I'm going to go to all 3 of you to figure what you attribute that to. Just a regularity of players, not changing much. Dan, you can go first. Chennai, Mumbai, what separates them in terms of knockout matches success?
I think it is around the consistency. They've got a lot of players who know what to expect in these situations, and that makes a huge difference, because if it's your 4th, 5th, 6th time, then you know what to expect. You know how to deal with the pressure, and you know how to deal with what's happening in a big final. I think more often than not, Chennai, because they've been so consistent with their selection, it's almost like they get to a final and it's the same thing over and over again. And actually, they've only won 3 of 7 or something like that, which is quite surprising.
They keep making it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad knock to have on you. It's not a bad knock to not win as many finals, but look, it's just just feels like another game for Chennai because they've done it so often.
You'd go with that, just the similarity of the same players, or is it now at this season we're questioning, oh, is Chennai's team too old for their own good?
Talk
Yet
about
they make
yourself,
the
not
finals.
me.
Okay, I'm questioning. I'm questioning.
Yeah.
But in these games, the fact that it is that familiarity, does that count?
That definitely does count, especially in this format where the success rate is comparatively less than 50 overs or test match cricket. From that perspective, consistency is very, very important, and that's what these two teams have done over the years. And also credit to the whole group as such, not just the team management. The auction is also very important, and that's where I think teams like Mumbai Indians and CSK have scored over the others.
Head-to-head record between Mumbai and Chennai, as the coin has just gone down at Hyderabad and it's gone in favour of Rohit Sharma. We'll come to that in a second. But in 2019, it's 3 out of 3 for Mumbai. And this is the other part that's an anomaly in the IPL, Ajit. Mumbai is just having the wood over Chennai through the course of the IPL, 16 to Mumbai out of 27 games. What do you attribute that to? Mumbai just knowing how to play CSK at their own game.
Yeah, and just a better team. I think on paper, and they performed better than Chennai. I think one of the big factors I feel to the question before was the Indian sort of players. You look at Chennai's Indian players, that's why they've had so much success. Yeah. Yes, you've had Shane Watsons and the Bravos and maybe Doug Bollinger in the past who've done well for them. Similarly for Mumbai. But it's the Indian players that usually dictate how the tournament can go. And both have had. Maybe the Chennai players at the moment are not doing as well as they were maybe 5-6 years back. Someone like Raina especially. MS Dhoni's had a great season, but Raidu's not played as well as last season. So, like I said, I think Mumbai have most bases covered. Chennai still depend sometimes, particularly with their bowling, to thrive in certain conditions. Not to mean. Doesn't mean that they can't win tonight, but they do like slightly slower conditions. So.
Okay, now Mumbai Indians have decided to bat first. Every time these teams have played an IPL final, the team batting first has ended up on the right side. Let's get quick reaction on that. Deep Dasgupta, first from you. Mumbai batting first. Any surprise at all?
Not really. Big games like these, you want to bat first, put the score on the board, and let the scoreboard pressure also kind of come into the picture. So I think that makes more sense. And also looking at the pitch, I know it looks like a belter, but I just have a feeling it might be on the slower side because this Hyderabad pitch is played differently in different occasions. At times you've gone on to score 230. At times you've had difficulty chasing down 140. So
what we heard from VVS Lakshman at the pitch report was that it looks like a belter.
But I just have a feeling it might be on the slower side. I just saw cracks there on that surface.
I mean, okay, there's no grass on it. I think the one that Mumbai played against Hyderabad.
Yes.
Joseph got a 6 for out of nowhere. I mean, Hyderabad looked like comfortably winning. Looks different. Maybe that's played a part as well. There might be runs on the board in the final are always good.
So you're good with Mumbai batting first too. That's what
I think they are the one team that can afford to bat first in this particular contest. I don't think Chennai could have, or Mumbai can perhaps defend better than Chennai would have. Just looking at the bowling results.
Well, I think potentially it also negates Chennai spinners. I think they'll maybe like Deep said, they're worried the wicket will slow down a little bit, and then later on Chennai have been so successful with that spin attack. If they're first up on this wicket, it might not do as much. And Mumbai have got their own decent spin attack as well that they'll want to give optimal conditions to. So, look, I think Mumbai just like batting first, and they go against the grain for most teams in T20 cricket. They're comfortable doing it. It's a final, so why not keep going?
And the other thing, I would like to believe that it's not too much of due there then. If they've decided to kind of bowl second or defend, then obviously I don't think due will have a major role to play.
Would this go okay? Would MS be okay with this? There's a game against Punjab towards the end where it was a flat pitch that you could easily chase down against Chennai too if it's not turning. Would MS welcome this?
I think so. I don't know what he thinks really, but I think he'd be quite happy knowing the target. Obviously, they'll want to restrict Mumbai to a reasonable total, but Mumbai will be where everyone's aware of Chennai's sort of lack of batting form, if you like, through that order, which again plays in Mumbai's hand. But I don't think MS would mind too much chasing as long as they keep Mumbai to a gettable total. So it's always nice, or at least the way he approaches his game. He likes having or knowing the target. We'll have to wait and see if the conditions are good. may not be such a bad toss to lose.
Yeah, good chance that MS would have chased anyway after how it went at Chennai when he won the toss, batted first, and then they did successfully chase in the second qualifier. Let's dig out some of Hyderabad's track record when it comes to the toss. 7 matches in IPL 2019. Toss win and match win doesn't quite add up. 14%. That could very well go down to the unpredictability of the Hyderabad surface, and maybe we'll go to that straight away. Just the pitch factor at Hyderabad, which is the other thing that we're bringing up here. We've seen some belters, and we've also seen some where low scores have been defended, like the one that Ajit points out, Mumbai versus Sunrisers, where Alzari got that record-breaking hand. In 3 of the 7 games, teams have put up 195 plus totals. In 4 of the 7 games, they struggled to score in excess of 160, and the team batting first has won 4 out of 7. Out of all the grounds, and you've been to that deep this season itself, is Hyderabad, where does it rank in terms of the kind of place you want to have a final on? Pitch, atmosphere, ground size,
Atmosphere
everything.
and everything else is brilliant. It's a biggish ground. There's a lot of opportunity to get boundaries and twos and all that. And pitch, as you mentioned, it's unpredictable.
What kind of pitch do you want though for the final?
See, CSK would want a 160 pitch. It's very simple. I mean, CSK, I mean, anything around that 160 mark, whether it's defending or chasing down, they're very comfortable. Anything over and above 160, then it becomes an MI game. So I think as far as CSK is concerned, they would like a slowish pitch because end of the day, MSD likes controlling the game through his spinners. And that's where he's really, really good at. And slower, the better.
Okay.
I mean, the pitch might be a bit unpredictable this year, but in general, if they've made a good pitch, it is usually a belter, and you can score big runs on that. So I hope that's the case tonight.
Team changes coming up now. Mumbai Indians playing 11 first. There's just one change from the team that beat Chennai at the Chepauk. Mitchell McClanahan comes in to fulfill the 4 overseas quota. Jayant Yadav misses out. Dan, quick reaction to that. Rohit Sharma saying it's the decision taken because of the conditions.
Yeah, I think we predicted it before the game, and credit to them in the previous game to bring in Jayant Yadav and utilise him and his skills against left-handed batsmen, and also understanding the wicket and how he's going to play. So I think McClanahan's a natural fit. He's going to bowl in a lot of different stages, and he's going to bowl probably to Dhoni as well. I think they'll save him up, come around the wicket at Dhoni and try and attack him early on. So a really good team, and just shows you how clear they've been with their planning all season, and another reason why they're in the final.
Yeah, just let's get our viewers on Facebook involved as well. McClanahan has come in for Jayant Yadav. If you like the move, just go yes, and if you don't know, you have the poll option up on our Facebook Live video watch, so make sure you get your thoughts on the way to us. We'll take them if we can, if there is time. Anyone else with disagreement on that? Mitch McClanahan is someone you'd have brought in?
Yeah, straightforward,
Happy with
really.
that? Yeah.
The conditions are not going to be as conducive as they were in Chennai to spin bowling, and you may as well use your quota of 4 overseas guys if you have someone in reserve who suits the conditions. So again, brave calls at good times Mumbai have taken, and that's why they're in the finals.
All right, let's have a look at the Chennai team. And MSD says he doesn't like changes. He's right, no changes made to that team. So in spite of just the 1 over for Shardul Thakur in the second qualifier, he keeps his place ahead of what could have been the tempting option of bringing back an extra batsman in Murali Vijay. But you like the look of that team?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they've gone with right through the season, most of it. And there's no point changing it, to be honest. I mean, that's the thing about Chennai. They put so much of trust in the players, and sooner or later they will fire. I mean, remember speaking to MSD during the one of the post games, and he said, listen, in this format, you're not going to be consistent, and you expect the big players to perform the big matches, and can't get bigger than this.
I know what you had said, Dan, last game, that you take away the confusion of Murali Vijay and where he could bat. But fact was, he came in for Kedar Jadhav, who was a proper batsman. And against a team like Mumbai, where you could have a Hyderabad surface that's getting you 180, 190, would you have been tempted to play an extra batsman, given what Shardul Thakur did in the last game where he didn't have much use?
No. I think this is the right way forward, and because of that reason, around the confusion, because I think Vijay is a very good T20 batsman. In the past, he's probably not quite there at the moment, but it's all been at an opening spot, and they don't want to give up on Faf and Shane Watson at this stage, and they've just started to come good as well. So I think it was confusion, and I still think that 7 batsmen is enough, even more so on a good wicket. So they'll utilise that bowler, I think, more than they did in the last game.
I don't even need to ask you if you like this change or not, so I'm just going to go straight to Stephen Fleming's words ahead of this game. And he was asked the question on how CSK can beat Mumbai, a team that's already done the business on them 3 times this season.
They're in form, they've got a nice balanced side, so they're a good challenge. And when you come up against a side like that, it can always be 50-50, and so far they've had their way. I'd love to have another go at it and win 1 out of 3, because it would be a good one, but thus far, yeah, they've certainly outplayed us.
Keeps it very simple, Stephen Fleming, but we'll get into detail. How can Chennai overcome the Mumbai challenge? Why is it that Rohit Sharma's team have the wood over them? What are the bases in which they outplay or outperform CSK? Let's take our agenda, our 3-point agenda that will come in now for how CSK can beat Mumbai. This is what we've got. Use of spin against Mumbai's top 3, an improved show with the bat in the power play, and potentially having MS Dhoni bat higher up the order. Now let's see, this is coming from our data analysts, and you know how much they love this. So you can either buy it or dismiss it and give your own 3-pointers. The use of spin against Mumbai's openers, which is something we're expecting to see. We'll just go to Rohit Sharma and Quinton de Kock against spin this season, and let's see if MS Dhoni employs any more than Harbhajan Singh. You'd think he would have some amount of spin used. That's what we've got. Mumbai's openers against spin in IPL 2019, an average of 20 for both, and a strike rate of 90 to 120. Spin use, first up, is that...
I mean, I'm sure he'll give Harbhajan at least an over, if not more, depending on how he goes, particularly to de Kock. I mean, Shardul's playing now, so they have that extra seam option.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of occasions in this tournament when they've not had that extra seam option, and he's had to keep some overs at the back end for the seamers in Bravo and maybe over of Chahar. So today he's got that luxury, so I'm not sure he'll use Harbhajan too much. If he doesn't get a wicket or doesn't have a good first over, he'll probably go to his seamers a bit quicker. These are different conditions.
Yeah.
This is not Chennai. So whilst the spinners will play an important part, I think his 3 seamers will have to have a good night for them to keep Mumbai down.
Then how does MS use his spinners on this sort of pitch? Let's assume it doesn't turn. It's not one of your usual CSK pitches and slow pitches. How would you like to see him use his spinners?
Well, I think what he's proven in the past that he'll probably use them less, and he's got himself enough options with the seam bowlers in there. He won't rely on them if he finds out early on that it's not spinning. I think once again we're predicting the wicket to be flat, and I think as soon as that happens, then Harbhajan's overs could come down. They'll try him first up, and even Jadeja. I think he'll always go to Tahir and use him 4 through the middle because Tahir offers economy and strike rate, whereas the other two, I think, are condition suited, and that's why they've been so successful at times throughout the year, and so successful because of the way that MS puts them in the best possible positions to win, to do well. So if he doesn't feel like they can, he just won't bowl them, and it seems a funny thing to say that the best way to use them is possibly less, but it could be on this ground.
Okay, now we've shown you that Rohit has had his struggles against spin. It's not only about the left-hander and Harbhajan Singh and Quinton de Kock, and instead of having Deep just say what he wants to in this fancy suit that he's wearing, we took him out under the sun and he got deeper into why Rohit Sharma seems to have a few problems against spin.
Let's talk about Rohit Sharma. He's been phenomenal in white ball cricket in the last few years. And one of the reasons I believe, and a lot of people say, is he's got that extra time. And that extra time comes from the fact that he really doesn't use his feet too much. He just plants it there, and he's all handsy from there on. Give him that split second extra to get into position with his hands. Now, off late in the IPL, he's got starts, but he has not capitalized because every time a spinner comes on, he's had a little bit of an issue. Now, what does he do? If the length is pitched up somewhere here, it's not a problem because he can reach with his hands. If it's short, he can go on his back foot. But the issue happens when it's somewhere in between and it's still doing the same thing. He's not moving his feet too much. He's there with his initial footwork, and then he's trying to reach the ball with his hands. Now, if my feet doesn't move and my bat is trying to reach, my hands are trying to reach, automatically I create this massive gap between bat and ball. Now, every time the ball moves around a bit, whether it's a leg spin or a googly or an off spinner, I get into a little awkward position and I don't have a second line of defense in terms of a body or my foot. So I'm all hands there, and if I miss it, I don't have a second line of defense. Now, that could be one of the reasons that he has, I won't say struggle, but has his issues against the spinners. But I'm very, very sure even Rohit would be looking into that matter and would be trying to sort it out before the World Cup.
Excellent. From Deep Dasgupta. There's more coming up. It's not just Rohit Sharma who has... No, not from you, Deep. There's not more coming up from Deep's wondering. That's all I shot. Anyway, we've got numbers for Surya Kumar Yadav as well. The question I would want to ask you is, Deep, what sort of approach do you fancy Mumbai's top two taking on now? Surya Kumar Yadav against spin, strike rate 100 to 120. That's against left-arm orthodox and leg spin. Has been dismissed 6 times by the leg spinner this season. We saw in the previous game, Rohit Sharma decided he wants to take on Harbhajan Singh. What sort of approach would you want Mumbai to take against the spin?
Well, obviously they would like to take on the spinners, especially when it comes to off spinner or left arm spin of Jadeja. But Imran, as far as Rohit is concerned, he's got to be a little careful with the leg spinner. I mean, off late he's had his struggles against the leg spinner. Be it Shreyas, be it just name it Imran. I mean, his numbers,
he gets
those
out
numbers
defending
that
or rather not looking to attack a few times against leg spinners. The other way just sort of go for
exactly. Because he's got the shots with him to kind of, can play a few dot balls, can take easy against Imran Tahir and then capitalize against the others. I mean, there are enough bowlers he can capitalize on. Just take it easy against Imran Tahir. That's what I'd say. But having said that, if the pitch is flat enough, then someone like Jadeja and all can go for a few.
Now, what about taking it easy if you're Chennai's batsman and top order? It takes us to our next match, our next point in how CSK can beat Mumbai. We've seen wickets fall at all times this season. Dan, when it comes to Chennai's top order, 3 wickets lost in all 3 games this season so far, and they've not got too many on the board. We've seen Shane Watson actually do well after he's blocked 10 balls at the start. Would we see that today?
Well, it was interesting after the last game hearing Duplessis talk about they don't want to lose a wicket in the first 2 overs. So that shows in the way they played in the last game, particularly Watson, who just
There were
struggled.
8 or first 2, I think.
Yeah, so it looks like they've got a definitive game plan. So they have met. They've talked about what they're going to do. So look, I think, and I think they'll continue that as well because they see once those 2 are in how devastating they can be. Particularly their strike rate just increases so quickly once they get to that 4th, 5th over. So I assume it'll be the same here. But obviously with them batting second, they're going to have a total in front of them, so they may have to go a little harder if they're chasing a big score.
Maybe it's just that they don't invite Dwayne Bravo to the team meetings. That could be one thing. You were doing on both those last 2 points. I think you had something on Rohit's approach against spin.
Yeah, I would. I mean, not just Rohit. Yeah, of course, if he said, I think if they can take Imran Tahir down, that'll be the other way to go. I mean, just put so much pressure on the other bowlers because he is their main sort of go-to guy to get wickets or even to stop runs in that middle phase. So I think if they're set, I don't think they'll be too conservative against Imran Tahir. Obviously, you don't want to give him too many wickets. Again, with this batting, I think if they don't lose wickets, the top 2 can accelerate, like Dan said, very, very, very quickly. So, particularly Watson. I don't think a spinner can stop him, even though Rahul Chahar has bowled as well as he has.
Sure.
He's someone who can hit the big shots in the middle of the innings, which is not a skill everyone can have. So, I think Chennai would be looking to that. Even if they play a couple of maiden overs, of course, depends if they're chasing 220, may not be 2 or 3 easy overs, might be 1, but they'll be looking to not lose an early wicket.
Yeah, if you give Imran Tahir wickets on this ground, there's plenty of real estate for him to run around on. But what we will focus on is our next point, and that will be MS Dhoni and perhaps using him more with the kind of form he's been in. Will he come in higher up the order? And that takes us to a conversation that usually happens between Mumbai and Chennai. That's Bumrah v Dhoni. It looks like, Ajit, for the last few years, Bumrah has almost been one of the first few people to use this hard length regularly against MS Dhoni when he's come out. That's the record that he has against him. Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed this year whether Dhoni's gotten better at hitting those sorts of lengths. How would you see perhaps his role today? Would you see him come up higher up the order to maybe invite Bumrah to bowl more initially than at the death?
I don't think he does. Yeah, even if we all want him to at some stages in this tournament or have one. No, I think there's a set game plan. I don't think he does want to come before the 10th or the 12th or 12th or the 13th over. He's quite happy coming in during that time and then sort of control the inning. Bumrah, I think Bumrah's numbers would be that good against most people. Hard length is a safer ploy against MS Dhoni. He's obviously playing a lot better, taking bowlers on. Bumrah's a different kind of bowler. I think he's one of those guys which who can execute. We saw in the last game Chennai-Mumbai played, got him out of a no ball, but still bowled a decent enough over not to
keep things quiet.
Yeah, I don't think he conceded a boundary after that. So it's the skill levels that Bumrah has at the moment.
Has he gotten any better at hitting that length though this season?
I think he's got better manipulating that length. Yeah. Even if he's not getting those boundaries, at least he's getting off strike. That was the issue last couple of years, that he wasn't getting off strike as often as we would like him to. But the other thing, I think the batting order might be a little more flexible today depending on the total that they're chasing and what kind of situation they are. I mean, with one batsman less, he needs to utilize someone like a Deepak Chahar or even Harbhajan or someone, if required. So I just have a feeling
they're not known to do that, Chennai.
Yeah, but they might be a little more, I just get a feeling they might be a little more flexible depending on the total that they're chasing. If it's a 190, 200 total, they might just move around a few players.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We've actually put that out in our text preview to this, that perhaps MS can look at the use of Deepak Chahar earlier, but I'll believe it when I see it, and then we'll bring it out to Dan, Deep and Ajit to go on further with. The result of the first poll that we asked you, Mitchell McClanahan for Jayant Yadav, they like it, 70% say it's a good move to bring the experience of McClanahan and fill the quota up. Let's get busy with the next poll as well. Mumbai or Chennai? I'm very, very curious to know what you think. It's already up, the poll on our Facebook Live video. Just go yes or no, Mumbai or Chennai, and we'll take that result in just a little bit from now. Now, we've already heard from Stephen Fleming on what he thinks Mumbai can be done for Chennai to beat Mumbai. Let's hear from his counterpart in the MI camp. Here's Mahela Jayawardene.
Well, I think it's just the setup, the group that we have, the players, the quality, the hunger that the guys have for success. I think we've created a culture, not just now, but I think over the years, Mumbai Indians have created that culture. And we've tried to keep a core group of players going through the franchise as well. So they have that identity. And the passion to play for that team. So I think that has helped to be consistent, and whenever the youngsters have been introduced, they walk into that culture as well. So I think it's quite a unique transition for them, and they play some fearless cricket, which is important in a tournament like this. And like Rohit said, you know, we do simple things. We want to play consistent cricket. We allow guys to go out and enjoy and express themselves. So as long as they are enjoying the challenges, you get good results. So that's been, for me, I've been involved only for 3 years, and that's been how things have been, and I've just tried to continue that.
Okay, let's get into some of those points that Mahela has teased already. Consistency in team selection is one thing we'll pick out. The next being taking tough decisions early in the season, and horses for courses selection policy. Now, we'll go in more in detail with the total number of team changes taken by teams this season, and you'll find Mumbai up top, while they have used over 20 players, which a lot of the franchises have, you'll notice that they actually feature top of the tree when it comes to, or rather joint with Kolkata, who have a fairly thin squad when it comes to first choice players. But 18 changes is the only ones they've made. They've used a lot of players, but they've not made too many changes. What does that tell you about a team, Dan? Just there's still a lot of players that have been used, but they make very few changes, even though they haven't won too many on the top. They've one lost this season.
Well, I think you take a step back as well and say how brilliant they've been at the auctions to allow them to be in the situation where they don't have to make too many changes because they've selected so well there. I mean, everyone had a chance to get the Pandya brothers when they came into the auction, and Mumbai were the ones that knew them the best. So I think it starts a long way back, and that allows them to make less and less changes. And I think every team wants to pick the same team. I think they want to be consistent. They don't want to chop and change. And Mumbai live that most of the time. I think they're not in the same league as Chennai in terms of being as consistent. I think they've made changes in previous years, but I think now they're comfortable, and it comes down to those Pandya brothers and Pollard to a lesser degree, that they can select the team around those guys, and it makes it easy. And that's what Chennai have done as well. I think all the teams that have those two all-rounders to balance up a team make selection a lot easier.
Yeah, and I like that second point. I'm going to go into detail on this. Taking the tough decisions early, just the sort of choices and decisions Mumbai make. And I'll start with you, Deep, on Markande, and then Ajit on Yuvraj. But Mayank Markande sort of season that he had, you'd think if you take the Chennai school of thought, keep playing him and he'll get good. Here, Mumbai just take a tough call, bring in a Rahul Chahar in quite early, and you've seen the impact he's had.
Absolutely, but between Markande and Rahul, it's not much to choose between them.
Sort of season he had last season, you wouldn't be tempted to play him?
Yeah, but it's not about last season. We're talking about 12 months between two seasons as well. If you look at Rahul in the domestic circuit, so is Markande. Markande was also very impressive in the domestic season as well. But Rahul's been brilliant. But the other important thing is, and I completely agree with both of them, it's very important to take those decisions, because this tournament moves really fast. If you're sitting on a decision for a while before you realize the season is over. So you've got to make those calls, but it helps when you have the core team together. Then you can make those changes. You know that your middle order is set, you know your low middle order is set, you know your bowling unit is almost set, your openers are set. Then you can make those. Mumbai has made those changes, but there's been few changes in the middle order. The number 4 position, maybe one spinner. The others has been tactical, like McClanahan or Jayant or something like that. But they really have their core team together, which helps.
I mean, that call of Yuvraj, we've seen other franchises slightly guilty of overplaying a player, Nothing specific to
talking about
personal.
Dan,
Has he?
or-
I don't remember. He doesn't even remember his final. What do I know? No, but not just Yuvraj, but other players where you're hoping that they come off rather than playing.
I mean, look, once they picked Yuvraj at the auction, it looked like they'll start him. He got a 50 in the first game.
Yeah, he didn't do too badly, to be fair, before they dropped.
Yeah, but you could see that it wasn't fitting the role that Mumbai Indians perhaps wanted him to at number 4. And there was another guy there who's done well for them in Ishan Kishan, who probably afforded them a little bit more. It's harsh, and imagine a Mahela or a Zahir Khan or a Rohit Sharma having to go and talk to Yuvraj Singh. But that's what they do. When you put the team first, and not individuals, you generally end up having success, and that's what they, that call of playing Jayant Yadav in that previous game, playing with 3 overseas guys, is as brave a call as you'd get. Of course, it helps when you have such a good team and there are enough players around that one particular guy that can win you games. But you still have to make those brave calls, and they're willing to do that. I mean, McClanahan could turn out to be another great call, not just sticking to, okay, Jayant Yadav's had a decent game and there's Raina. Let's stick with him. But the conditions dictate that McClanahan should play, and they've done that. So no surprise. Again, my first point, their Indian players are so good, the 5 or 6 at the moment, that just helps them, and Pollard with that.
And that's where I think credit should be given to the scouts as well.
Yeah,
People
Dan
who
says,
like right through the year, Mumbai Indians have their scouts going to domestic cricket, picking up guys like Pandya brothers, Hardik and Krunal. And also it helps having 2 proper all-rounders in Hardik and Krunal. So, no matter what changes they make, they have enough depth in the batting and also enough bowling options there with them as well.
I like that you say that. A lot of the work at the auction, Jayant Yadav was one trade that almost went under the radar from all of us. The other one was Quinton de Kock, which fits their setup nearly perfectly. They might have had Ishan Kishan, but you take that out and you're trying to figure who would be your backup keeper, who would walk into the 11, which we've seen other teams have an issue with in this season.
Yeah, they gave themselves options, and I think they still wanted to pick a consistent 11, but they knew if they had to make changes, they had that personnel there, and that once again is a credit to the scouting and the management to select those players, and also I think to Mahela and the rest of the coaching staff to actually build a group that can handle those changes. I think there's been a lot of teams in the past that when teams chop and change, they can't handle it, they can't deal with it, and the performance follows. What Mahela's set up there is a culture of, okay, we're going to play our best team on the day. We're going to back you guys, but at times someone else is going to come into the team because we think it's a better option. And it looks like the players, because they're part of such a strong team, accept that. And that's a great culture.
Okay, no, and the third point we make is horses for courses selection policy. Stuff we've been talking about, bringing in Jayant Yadav, playing 2 leg spinners on a pitch that they thought would turn in Jaipur, in Markande and Rahul Chahar, playing Ben Cutting on certain days, all those sorts of decisions that have been taken. I'll come to you, Dan, because both you and Deep have been in the backroom stuff. Sometimes it looks like there are so many heads in the Mumbai camp. There's all sorts of highly players with high profile that you think decision making could get clogged. But it looks like Mumbai, one of the teams that are very clear with what they want to do through the season. What goes on there? Do you see that clarity, and what do you attribute that to?
I think so. I think that like all franchises, there's a lot of discussion. It's probably not as easy as it looks when we sit here. I'm sure there's a lot of input, particularly when things aren't going well. So once again, it's that strength of the culture that Mahela's created, that they allow him to select a team that he thinks is the right team on the day. And I think to all our points, it's easier to select a team when you
Not
have
all
two.
franchises do that, is what you're saying?
No, I think they try to.
Yeah.
I think
That's
try to.
right, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line, it's trust and clarity.
Yeah.
Clarity in your role in that dressing room. Clarity in how you're thinking, the roles for the players as well, and the trust. I mean, obviously, you've got to trust. Mahela has to trust the local scouts to say, you know what, Rahul is better than Markande, or Rahul is better than X, Y, and Z. Pick him. So there has to be trust between the actual staff and the scouting, and then obviously the clarity. I think clarity is the key in a T20 format where, it can get really complicated.
Do they strike you as the benchmark for the modern age T20 team that tick more boxes? Chennai have this completely different school of thought, but do they strike you as the ideal example of how to build a successful Mumbai team? Or
I
successful
think,
T20 team?
I know I'm repeating myself. It just helps when you have 5
Indian
or 6
players,
good Indian players. I think it just becomes so much, and all internationals, or not all. I mean, most of them international. So it makes it easier. But you're right. I mean that there's a lot of work put in through the last 3 or 4 years to get to where they are right now. That is perhaps the greatest example.
Okay, let's move to our Fab 4. One last time for Dan Vettori, Deep Das Gupta and Ajit Agarkar to pick 4 players to get them some points. Let's go first. Who wants to take first honours, first shots? Who wants to go first? We'll show you the Mumbai team.
Okay.
Ajit Agarkar, the Mumbai boy, will go first.
Rohit Sharma.
Well done.
Leave some for us.
Rohit Sharma and I'm going to go Lasith Malinga today.
Very well. And for Chennai,
Suresh Raina, although I shouldn't. But, and Dwayne Bravo.
okay, Raina, Bravo, Malinga, Rohit. Deep.
All right, I'll go with MSD.
Okay.
MSD, Deepak Chahar.
Okay.
And then for Mumbai, I'll go with Hardik. And I'll go with the Pandya brothers.
You're going with Krunal. Fine. Daniel.
Suryakumar.
Yep. Some variety.
And Bumrah.
All right. So, no one took Bumrah. Okay. And
Shane Watson and
from Chennai, you've got Shane Watson and.
Bravo.
Okay, Bravo repeated. Fine.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. You want to take with Bravo? You're sticking with Bravo?
Yeah.
All right. Do you know that I will also be picking now, just for fun?
Oh, come on.
Because I want to beat you all.
The game's underway.
I want to beat you all. Let's see it. If I beat you all today, then party's on you all.
You're picking the players we haven't. Right?
No, I am going to pick the players I haven't. Therefore, Quinton de Kock. Right, has anyone gone Rahul Chahar here? No. Rahul Chahar. There's my second. And from Chennai, Faf du Plessis. And I will go. Anyone got Tahir here? All right. Imran Tahir. All right. Thank you very much. Both leg spinners with me. Thank you to Daniel Vettori, Deep Das Gupta, Ajit Agarkar. Give me a number very quickly. The score Mumbai would want, assuming it's a good pitch.
180 plus.
180 plus.
180.
180.
190 plus.
190 plus. Okay, result of the poll. Mumbai or Chennai? I'm very intrigued to find out. It is split nearly evenly, but it is split to Chennai. 52% to 48%. We'll have extensive coverage of this final. We'll be back with the boys at halftime as well. And all of you should know that at the end of this game, you can catch all your daily news from ESPN Cricinfo on your Google Home as well as your Google Assistant on the phone. So make sure you catch that once this game is done. On your way out, some fun here. We're going to actually have the missing IPL 11, the best of the teams that didn't make it to the playoffs. And maybe there's a case to have those guys be the winners of the IPL. At least that's what some of us think.
Indian Premier League, the annual cricket carnival that invites the finest cricketers from across the world. But just before it ends, sends half of them home. Here's an 11 of deserving players who are missing the playoffs because their teams didn't cross the line. Opening the batting, Centurion KL Rahul, only if he promises to fire and not be an anchor. His partner, Captain Virat, because he deserves a better team to lead. Virat's charm from the last win, this West Indian comes at one down, followed by Gill, who's delivered on all the hype around him. The obvious inclusion, Trey Russ, will be eager to bat at 5, while Rajasthan's Samson, with his lofty strike rate, would boost the finish. We've thrown in Ashwin for the possibility of on-field drama as well as his neat economy. And he'd partner Shreyas Gopal, who's been plain unlucky to go home after these numbers. Number 9 is RCB's lone bowling hero Yuzi Chahal, and for the fast bowlers, the consistent Mr. Shami and quick Navdeep Saini are worthy weapons of the pack. So IPL's missing 11 versus the eventual winners, how would that turn out to be?